Chapter 3, Section 1 discusses carbon compounds or organic compounds. So, an organic compound is any sort of compound that contains carbon atoms, and the other key elements that you're going to see in organic compounds are hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. There may be a few other elements thrown in here and there, but these are the four main ones: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Now, attached to those carbon compounds are functional groups, and functional groups are going to influence what kind of properties that molecule will have. For instance, this is our carbon molecule down here. This has, you can see, it's got an oxygen bonded to it. This little bend here means that there's a carbon attached, and this attachment here on the side is called the functional group. Now, NH2 is for amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins. So any sort of protein is going to have this NH2 group. So that's the functional group that helps to influence a protein's properties. Molecules are made up of smaller parts called monomers. When you have two monomers linked together, we call it a dimer. Okay, that prefix di meaning two. And anytime there's three or more, we call it a polymer. So these building blocks or monomers bonded together will give us these larger molecules. And that's all a polymer really is a large molecule. Again, macromolecule is another term for large molecule or polymer. So how we go about making those macromolecules is through a condensation reaction. With the condensation reaction, we're going to take two molecules or two monomers, and from one of them we're going to remove a hydrogen, an H+ ion, and from the other one we're going to remove a hydroxide ion or OH-. Okay? By removing a piece of each of those monomers, that's going to allow there to be a spot for those two monomers to bond together and form a large molecule or our polymer, and then the hydrogen and the hydroxide are going to combine to form water. That's where we get this name condensation reaction. We're forming water. So in this equation down here, we've got some organic compounds. Okay, you can see all the carbons that are in there. This is a glucose molecule, this one is a fructose molecule, and they're making sucrose, which is table sugar. So from one of them, they've taken the hydrogen, from the other, they've taken the hydroxide. They've made this large molecule by joining those two monomers together, and you also will have water as a product. Now, to break one of those large molecules, you would do the opposite reaction, and that is called a hydrolysis reaction. And that is where you use water to break the polymer back into its monomers. So you add water back in, that will split the large molecule apart, and the hydrogen will go back to its original monomer, and the hydroxide will go back to its original monomer. So again, that's the reverse of the condensation reaction, hydrolysis reaction, adding water back in order to split those large polymers apart. We've discussed before metabolism and energy use, and all living things require some amount of energy. And the key for where we get our energy from is ATP. This is a molecule that you'll want to remember for the rest of the semester. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. And what happens is when you break these bonds on its tail structure here, energy is released. It can hold a lot of energy in those little bonds. This is the adenine molecule. It's attached to a ribose, which is a sugar, and then it's got this tail of phosphates. That's your triphosphate. You can pull off one of those phosphates. That bond will then release the energy and help to sustain life.